Reconnection successful. Wow, does that mean it's going to go back on? Or is it going to go on as a second stream? Let's see. I do not know that, but here it comes. Let's see here. You are live. Wow, back on. Finally. That's massive, man. What's the deal with this? This is just a clusterfuck. Here we go. All right, let's see here. Same, or not same? Oh my God, this is such a freaking nightmare. Load up. All right, it should be back right now. Shoot, man. Internet went off. It has nothing to do with, there's no electricity. Bummer, man. And no, I don't have a UPS anymore. I wish I did, and I need one. But haven't had one in a while. That would have helped at least temporarily. Yeah, this is still really. My internet is very dicey right now. Let's see here. Hang on a second. All right. We'll see where this goes here. I want to see what the quality is. If we can't get any quality in the stream, then we'll just have to call it a day, I guess. But that's the way it goes, I guess. But so far, it seems to be okay. It's just slow on my end. And the electricity went out, and what are you going to do? Electricity goes out, and then what happens is the electricity went on, it went off again. And then the router doesn't just boot right back up. It takes a while, and it has to cycle through. And I think they were doing something to their system. I don't know. I can't even see. Let's see here on my phone if it's any better. I can't see what's going on. All right, here we go. This is the second one. All right, now I can see, at least see something. I don't see anything on my computer. Everything is frozen up. But on my phone, I see something, so that's good to know. At least, I mean, I'll just talk, and, we'll see where it goes from there. But I can see the messages coming in now, so great. Sorry this happened, but, beyond my control. Unless I have like a generator backup, which I don't, then, nothing I can do. So I don't know, where were we? We were somewhere in the neighborhood of Thailand is great, and yet some people think Thailand sucks. Some people love it, some people hate it. I try to be realistic about it. And, they don't give you any notice if they're going to do some work on the internet. Every once in a while they do give some notice, but most of the time, if something happens, they start working on it. They don't tell you in the neighborhood, oh, everything. You just kind of find out through the grapevine. So, let me see something here. Anyway, I'm sure we lost a lot of people. There was about 65 people in the chat before, and now there's, I don't even know how many. I can't really get a bead on it because my computer is not working very, very well. I can see it looks something like 18, but it's not. The pages aren't reloading. It's so slow on my end. And now we got 20 people. All right, there we go. Was in the middle of 2,500. 2,500? 2,500 what? I can't remember. Yeah, the air went off. Everything, you know, is squirrely right now. This is the world we live in right now. We're living in a squirrely time. Oh, yeah, 2,500 a month. That's what we're talking about. Now I completely lost track. You know, I got a one-track mind. Anyway, $2,500 a month is more than enough. $2,000 is enough, but you're gonna have to make some concessions. You know, you're not going to be able to go out and buy expensive beer all the time, expensive cheese all the time. You're going to have to watch it a little bit. That's all. It's not that you can't have a good life off that much money. You can. Plenty of Thais do. You know, and believe me, I used to make a lot more before. Snopes, I hate to tell you this, Beyond Trinity, but Snopes is not really a great source of information. I'm going to have to look at these. It's talking about Trump and donating stuff to China. You know, maybe back a couple of months ago, you might have, I wouldn't have, but you might have thought that you could trust some of what was coming out of China, but I certainly don't now. Let me see here. I'm still having some issues here. I got issues. Let's see here. Let's see if this helps. Encoding overload. Okay, now we're back to normal. That's very good. Shit. As soon as I say it's good, okay. All right. Yes, I'm back. Dementia. Yes, dementia is coming. Let's see here. I did want to see something. I don't think it's out yet, but I could be wrong because it is still early since I started earlier. I'm going to have to get myself accustomed to starting earlier. Wow. 1.2 million cases. It's about 65,000 dead. Yeah, the full results are not in yet. But suffice to say, a hell of a lot of people have contracted this, and it's probably only a portion of what is real, what the real numbers are. At least it seems like we have a little stability in the stream again. Internet is working slightly better. It's still a bit slow. When they start burying the power lines in Thailand, that makes it harder to work on compared to power poles. Expect repairs to take longer, even if they have to pump, even longer if they have to pump water out. Yeah, I wouldn't, you know, I don't dispute that at all. I know that lately we've been having far more power outages than usual, which I don't know, you know, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, I'm in shock over here about everything that's going on. Oh, Jesus. Here's another, I got to talk about this too. Here's another. Decision not to air Trump's coronavirus briefing is commendable and overdue. opinion. Now, this is off of IndieWire. Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to read this. I don't even want to read it. I don't know. You know, listen, I don't have anything to do with that, and I can't do anything about it, so I don't think about it. You know, with the internet lines. I do think about, like, okay, so what's going on? I have noticed, though, in the last month or so that when the internet goes down, when the electricity goes down, it's harder to reconnect to the internet. Didn't used to be. It used to be things popped right back on and everything was back to normal. That's not how it is now. This is the new normal, which begs the next question: what is the next new normal? What is the new normal going to look like once we're through this? And I mean completely through it. Once people aren't worried about flying, is there ever going to be a normal like that again? Because I have my doubts. Well, these comments are coming in very slow to me. Everything is slow. The only thing is I have the phone, which seems to be working better. Utility companies hate buried wires. Looks pretty without overhead wires, but is a nightmare. I can tell you right now that the Thailand is. I don't think that they're predominantly underground or buried at the time. I think they're above ground. Government officials control my every move. How does that happen, Alvin? I'm curious to know. How does the government control your every move? And where are you? And why did you retract that statement? Another important question. Honestly, this is the squirreliest the internet has been while it's working in as long as I can remember. I don't know where he is. U.S., Singapore, Thailand, I don't know. Where you go, where you is. Where you be. Well, to say that and then not to tell us where you're at. Come on, man. Somehow I don't think that they really care that you said that, to be completely honest. Canada? Come on, man. I know somebody who lives in Canada. Well, if you're working for the government, then you're always going to have to be concerned about what you say and where you go and what you do. I mean, you know, depending on your position in the government. New normal. No more meals on flights. You have to brown bag it. Plus, you're going to have to pay extra for the new normal. I do think that that's going to be true. It's going to cause a greater disparity between the middle class and higher class. Well, every time there's a thunderstorm with winds, they go down, ice on them, trees falls, and the lines are down, etc., etc., etc. Here it used to be in this particular townhouse, it used to be that anytime it rained heavily, the internet would go down or the cable would go down. Now we don't have cable anymore, but the internet doesn't go down, not from the rain. Usually there's something going on elsewhere. They're always trying to upgrade or whatever. Now, I get messages sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I don't think, I don't think much will change once the all clear is given. I don't know about that. Because you got to think about something that what they're going to do is they're going to say, well, right now we're open, but only partially, or we're only doing this. In order to be extra cautious, we're not going to allow this. And some places may continue, or the government, I don't know, may continue to keep these practices in place. And I think that's one of the fears of many, many people, that, you know, the new norm is not going to be to their liking. I mean, what's going to happen if they start going, well, places from this country can't go into here, and people from this country can't go to this country, and they can't go to that country, but we're allowing people to come in from this other country, and then people are going, yeah, but you know what? I've got a transit in that country. Yeah, but you're not allowed in the country. Will they do that? I wouldn't put it past them. Although, personally, I don't think China, not many people from China should be allowed to travel in the near future. And the other thing that people don't really talk about all that much right now is the number of urns that have been ordered, and they're far more than usual and far more than the number of people that China is reporting as having succumbed to this disease. Now, I got to say something else. Let me see something here, if I can pull it up, if I have any chance in hell of getting this page to load. Yeah, I should be able to. It might take a minute. Jesus criminy. I think airline industries will create new ways to extract more money from flyers to make up for loss. Well, you know, aren't they getting money from the stimulus bill? You know. So what do they need to find new ways to get their money back from for? Really? See, this is just nothing but headaches. This. What I was going to say is, okay, not today's stream, but the last stream number 34 and the stream, what would Thailand be like without tourists? Both of those streams were demonetized by YouTube. Now, and they were confirmed by manual review as to not being advertiser friendly. Now, that's their right. However, here it is. What would Thailand be like without tourists? That one got demonetized. And the one before that was call for action, blacklist China. You're never given a reason why. But I have my, you can't be controversial. Listen, that's the problem with the fucking world the way it is now. You can't say anything controversial. Everybody's so sensitive. Jesus Christ. It's like, get over it. I mean, some things, okay, maybe they're understandable. You don't like to hear them. They're painful. Hey, fat ass. Hey, stupid. Hey, ugly. Hey, whatever it might be. But, like, at the end of the day, it might have hurt people before. It might have bothered people before. But we got along somewhat. And now it's like you say the wrong thing and then people can't get along with each other. Because you said this. You're not allowed to say that anymore. I'm drained from all this, keeping up with all this. You can't say Chinese virus. You're going to get demonetized. Oh, you can't say Chinese virus because you're going to be called racist. Okay, well, I'll call it Wuhan. But the thing Wuhan is that it doesn't really talk to the fact that it is the Chinese government who is dealing with it. Wuhan, where's Wuhan? Some people don't even know where Wuhan is. They might now. Hopefully they know now. I saw that that the United States government, I don't know about other governments, but airlines based in the U.S., one of the stipulations of them receiving funds is that they're going to have to refund the money to their customers. Now, you know, it's just a big, like I said, it's a flustercuck. That's the PG way of saying it. And it's just going to continue. And it's like, okay, do I want to be the perpetual optimist? No, I don't. I want to be a realist. And I've said that hundreds and thousands of times. I want to be real. I just want to be real about stuff. I don't want to have to, just what was the movie? You Can't Handle the Truth? I said fluster cuck instead of cluster. Yeah, cluster fuck. Fluster cuck. I guess that, depending on how you take it, might not be all that much better, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. What research? And I meant when it's over, as in for everyone, therapies approved, vaccines approved, millions with antibodies, it can't overwhelm us anymore at that point. Well, you're presuming that there will be a vaccine. You are presuming that. And while I do think there probably will be some kind of vaccine eventually, that's still a year and a half away. You talked about virus. You talked about letter Y. You're boring. Yeah, I didn't say I was boring. It's why someone thinks I'm boring. You talked about letter Y. Thailand might be bad. I don't know what the other topics are. That's the thing. Have seen many people and many reports of people having flights canceled, not being able to get refunded, and that's one of the reasons I'm stranded in Bangkok right now. You're stranded. Wow. So, how much is your flight to go back? You checked on prices to fly back out of the country, and how much is it? Yeah. So I don't care. So I don't prepare. And right now I don't really care because you know what? Listen, I never profess to be anything. I am who I am. I do what I do. If people don't like it, that's fine. What am I going to do? My flight back to the UK was due March 30th, but was canceled. Okay. So you couldn't get another flight? Or the flight was prohibitively expensive? The airlines have gotten away with way too much for too long. I will say that. We're not allowed to say hello to everybody here. It takes too much time. It takes away from all the content. Yeah, okay. I'll say whatever I want. Hello, everybody, again. Let me see something here. Well, that would explain it. Life seemed so much easier back in the day. Flights were like £1,000 to £2,000 instead of the usual 400-ish. Yeah, that's some. Well, I mean, here I was like, oh, the airlines can't get any flight, you can't get any customers, you can't get any. Nobody's buying the tickets. You're going to be able to fly to Thailand for $40 from the United States. No, you're not. You don't want to be flying right now, man, if you can help it. So you now admit it. If there's no vaccine, so be it. You don't have to to have one to go on with life. Well, I was just talking today to to my mother. Hi, Mom. If you're listening, she's probably not at this point. She's probably sleeping. Who knows? Um, but we were talking about how um, the tipping point. When will that tipping point come? When will people say it's time to just, hey, we're going to take our chances? There's reports of people buying flights only to have 2 or 3 of canceled on them. I did read about the Russians. Where's that at? Did I save that? Let's see. 3 Russians. Now I don't know what their story is. Okay. Did I save it? Doesn't look like I did. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah. Stranded Russians shelter in Phuket temple. Authorities are trying to help 3 broke Russian tourists who have taken shelter at a local temple after their flight home was canceled because of the virus. Local administration officials have been asked to contact the Russian embassy about the plight of 2 men and a woman sheltering at Wat Mai Khao, said Napason Kakai, director of the Phuket office of the Tourism Authority of Thailand. The airline they were booked on, had stopped flying from Phuket because of transportation restrictions imposed. They were supposed to return to Russia on March 25th. After the flight was canceled, they had no money left and decided to walk from the airport. When they saw the temple, they decided to take refuge there. They slept inside a rundown building besides a crematorium. They also converted a concrete platform into a makeshift kitchen where they cooked instant noodles donated by residents. They were given mosquito nets to sleep under, and they were also visited by the provincial health expert Winai Seo, and thermal scans showed none of them had a fever. They were also given face masks to wear while the authorities relocated them to a proper accommodation. And they've got somebody donated a tent to them. So, this just goes to show, listen, the Thais are not heartless. Sometimes you may think so, but a lot of foreigners they talk about this and how some of the people are heartless and they won't, they're so bad, and I don't really think that that's true. I think some can be, but then so can people anywhere, and that's what I always fall back on. I remember during 9/11 lockdown, a friend of mine stuck in Hawaii, he went into $3,000 debt, I believe, because he had no option. Feel sorry for the poor folks stuck around the world. And this is what do you think? I'm sticking right where I am because now is not the time to be flying. And I said this a while ago, and actually my buddy, he sent me, what's going on here? He sent me a request from one of his buddies for some information about what did I think about him coming over here to escape the United States and disappear to some island like Koh Samui or something. I said, don't do it. Stay where you are. And you're probably better off, Yeah, well, most foreigners who have a little bit of knowledge of Thailand know that they can always go to a Wat, they can always go to a temple, and they may have to sweep up or, do something like that. But right now is not a great time to be stranded anywhere. I flew to New York. I flew to Bangkok in January and made sure I had the funds to buy another flight if my original flight was compromised. If people still went after March, why did they chance it? Definitely. And I don't know. I don't know if Soy Dog is still in the chat and he's still listening. But I'm interested in knowing if he felt it was the right move to go to go back. I was the one who kind of said to him, "Well, maybe you should go back because your folks are there and they're worried about you, and that you don't want them to worry about you too much, and there's a lot going on." I don't know if he feels like it was the best move to make, but maybe, I don't know. I think being home where you have a safety net as an American, some kind of safety net, whether it be family or access to funds or whatever it might be. I think that's always important to remember. Normally, I'd be happy to be able to spend more time in Thailand, but not now. But now is not one of those times. Bangkok is actually quite boring now. I can't even go to parks. Well, it's not just Bangkok. It's freaking just about everywhere in the world. I mean, you could. I was talking today to my mother again about this subject where somehow the kids have not really got all that bored. Nicholas especially. Alex, I can see he's getting a little testy or whatever. He probably wants to go out, but he understands and he's not complaining. They're not griping and groaning, and neither am I. But there is a difference between wanting to stay home and staying home and shacking up for a couple of days, for a weekend, for a week, whatever it might be, and having to stay at home. Now, in Bangkok, you can go out if you want to go out. It's not a problem. They're just saying we recommend that you only go out for essential items. And the parks are closed now. What are you going to do? This is what they did. They closed the parks. They feel it's beneficial. At some point, you have to have a little bit of faith in the people who are leading, and it's very difficult for me to have faith in anybody leading any country because they're politicians. But what are you going to do? You just gotta hope that things go in the right direction. Things don't go to shit. They get better. Now, what I don't know, and I don't know if this is happening in other countries, and I would kind of like to know, but, there are hotels that are closing. And so what do you do with the people that are in the hotel? I know some hotels allow them to stay. Are they being booted out? And if they are they being afforded alternate accommodation? I saw something about how they, I don't remember if it was in Phuket or where it was, but schools are being, there's a possibility of schools being used to house foreigners so that they have a place to stay. It's already happened to you once. So you got booted out of a hotel and were told to go somewhere else. Now, I'm assuming you had only paid up to a certain point, so they wouldn't allow you to stay even if you paid. So this is a very difficult situation because, for them to stay open, they've got to pay people to be there. And the hotel I'm in now is closing on the 7th for 2 months. Now, have they told you, are you going to be able to stay, or you're going to have to be out by then? I mean, that's only, a couple of nights. And how is this affecting you as far as, financially? You've got to move. Well, yeah, so do you have a place to go, or what are you going to do? Crazy, man. It's crazy. They're going to have to figure something out, and I'm sure there are people working on that. But I did see that the automatic extension has not gone into place for tourists. Now, did you have to go and get An extension on your visa? Because that's still being debated. I don't know what the deal is, or how they. I don't know everything that's involved in that. I'd have to really think it out. What do you do if you just say, oh, from this time on you get an automatic extension. However, once we declare the state of emergency over and we open things up more, you have 72 hours to get out of the country, or I don't know how they can work it. I don't know the logistics of it. They need to designate somewhere foreigners can stay in each major city if they're booting everyone out. That's FUBAR. What's FUBAR? FU bar FUBAR. I don't know. I don't know all these acronyms. Going to have a look for another hotel. Can't rent an apartment for less than a month. All foreigners are automatically given 3 months during normal times. Well, but this is not normal times, and they're not automatically giving anything. You have to go to immigration. What they're talking about is to avoid. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, sorry. I'm not hip to all these acronyms. They're not, Larry. They're not given automatically anything. You have to go to immigration, and depending on your type of visa, you're not going to get 3 months. You're going to get a month. If you got a 2-month tourist visa, you're going to get a month extension. You're not going to get 3 months. Now, if you've got another type of visa, you will get 3 months or you'll get a year. It just depends. So that's not a good situation. You got to keep in touch with me. Let me know what's going on. I don't know how much I can help you, but if there's any way I can, I'll try. I can't. I wish I could open up my pad as a boarding house and just let people sleep wherever they want, but I can't. My wife would kill me, man. She'd divorce me for something like that. Not only that, come on, man. I live in my own bubble. Not only that, but the other thing is that if you are letting people come in, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about any place that decides to let somebody new come in. They've got to worry about, is that person infected? Yeah, but see, again, I heard a bunch of tourists in the Philippines are sleeping in the open air because hotels are closing. EU diplomats complained about it. Uh, what I think people forget is that. Thanks a lot, Charles. How you doing? How you doing? I think a lot of people forget that, somewhere like the Philippines or Thailand, they're not your country. And I know that the diplomats think that everything should be a certain way, but that's not how the leaders of the other countries think. And I don't think it's right. I think that they should have places that are set up to help foreigners, and they may. Right now, they may just be trying to say, hey, listen, right now, the foreigners are on their own. They're going to have to be on their own for another week or two. We'll see what happens. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's right, but they barely take care of their, Thailand is not a place where people are well taken care of by their government. You're on your own. You got, listen, the fallback, the contingency plans are few and far between. Excuse me. I don't see the numbers yet. Let's see here. I don't see. the numbers yet for the day for Thailand. They should be out soon. I'd say in another hour or two they'll be out. So, where are you going to put them? First of all, like Bangkok is a big city. What happened? Now, what I'm wondering about is travel insurance. Will travel insurance cover, hey, you're stranded. Well, you're not really. See, this is the thing. Technically, most people are not really stranded. Yeah, but they are letting people leave, and that's the dilemma. They're letting people leave. It's not like you can't leave the country. You can, but your ticket price might be exorbitant. Um, you know. Now in the Philippines, I understand, and I understand it happening. I can see it happening. That's a better way of putting it. I don't understand it. It's crazy when you just tell people, "Oh, sorry, you got to leave." But so what? So the hotel should lose their ass because they got to stay open for these people? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think the answer is the government needs to take charge and say, "Hey, listen, all the tourists, you're going to have to make your way to this place. And this is where you're going to be holed up. It ain't going to be pretty, but guess what? You got a roof over your head, or why can't they set up camps just like they set up for refugees? Why can't they do that? They can. It's a matter of priorities. And I think that their people are a higher priority than the foreigners. Yeah, that's what I had been saying, Larry. Thailand, new cases seem to be trending downwards, at least for the last 3 or 4 days. I mean, they are letting people leave. What are you? Where are you talking about? The Philippines or Thailand? And Philippines, I think that they've closed the borders. Ah. All right, I got a little issue here again. You're expecting a huge increase in the case in New York. Man, have you really gone anywhere, Soy Dog Cowboy? You're right in the middle of it there. Have you gone out much at all? I don't know why you would, really, other than for food or medicine. But yeah, and you live in an apartment. I mean, you got some size there where you can you go out about once a week. Yeah, that's about what I go out for the past couple of weeks. I do have some footage of being out and everything, and I waited for Alex to take care of it. He was too busy, and now I'm going to put something together about it. And I got some other footage that I'm going to put up in the. I'm going to put up eventually, and it's from me back in Cannes, France, 20 years ago. When I was there, I went there for a movie. I was in this little movie that my buddy made, and it went to France, it went to Cannes, and I was shocked at some of the things I said, but also that I was thinking, and how I looked and how everybody else looked. That was a long time ago. 525 square feet. Holy shit. That's not all that big. More clusters are going to emerge, then boom. Well, that's what I worry about here in Thailand. In 6 days. Wow. Well, it'll be interesting to see how accurate they are. Because that's something that's important. If you're going to make all these public statements and come out with and try to be accurate in some ways, and I'm not just talking about Trump, because obviously he should be, he should try to be as accurate as possible. Now, I did see something today, I watched a little bit of the press conference. I didn't have time to watch it all. But I saw some journalist who was harassing him about saying that he thought that, or he wants to open up everything. They're like, you're saying you want to open things up, but now it's too dangerous. You can't open it up. Why are you saying that you want to open things up as quickly as possible? He's like, yeah, of course I want to open it up. What do you think? You think I want to keep it closed forever? He's like, this is not going to go on forever. And then they just kept going on and on about it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, imagine I wonder how many hours he's sleeping. Going on and on, day in, day out. Okay, this is part of his position. And to me, he looks better than he did the one time when he looked like he was half asleep. He looked like he's on Valiums the one time he gave that announcement. This is about a month ago or so. Most rentals in Pattaya are like 30 or 35 square meter. You're talking about the little, studio places. I mean, I know, not just in Pattaya, but I know like in Bangkok, man, you can have a huge place, but it's going to cost you. In Pattaya, it'll be a little bit less. But I mean, I don't know how big our place is. I don't remember. I used to know. I was told before. I don't remember. But we got 2 stories, and so we have a little outdoor. And I was talking about it again earlier today, and with my wife, one of the times when we go out, if we can, we want to get a plastic, what do you call it? A plastic table, like one of those garden tables. And in our old place, we had this concrete, ceramic tile table that we would go out and we'd all sit outside and we eat food and kids would play and do stuff like that. And we had a couple dogs then. That's kind of something we want to do just to be able to get out of here, because staying inside all the time is just not good for you, Excuse me. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let me see if I can bring these numbers up again. But over 1.2 million have been infected, 64,000. Now, I've been hearing all these stories about people saying it's not the virus. What people aren't telling you is it's 5G. That's what the truth is. And shut up. I can't stand conspiracy theories. Listen, if there is some serious credibility behind the conspiracy, then maybe it's worth taking a look at. But just, like people, everyday people, just like me and you, they're coming up with all these conspiracy theories, and it's like, well, I read this and I read that, and, the whole thing, like the Snopes, I've got all kinds of comments about that, and, yeah, I have a hard time with conspiracy theories, just like, I tell Nicholas, I have a hard time with, like, slasher films now. Yeah, it's all Bill Gates. He's doing everything. Everything is coordinated between the leaders of the countries and the regional leaders, and everybody's just falling into line, and it's part of the New World Order. Yeah. President needs to quit saying open it up because they don't understand he means when it's appropriate. Exactly. That's the thing. What is so difficult? You know what it is they're trying to fit it to their narrative. They're trying to mold it to their narrative. Oh, but you mean that you're gonna open it up? No, when it's appropriate, you douchebag. You can't open it up. Anyways, the governors have the power to say when to or not. The earth is flat, man. Yeah. It's all flat. We're gonna fall off. I don't know how many people have fallen off. Now, they might fall off a 20-story building in Pattaya somewhere. But I don't think they're going to be falling off the end of the earth. Yeah. It's all the 5G. It's just master plan. It's actually what we don't know is the universe is in cahoots against us. That's what it is. I can't get over this shit. Seriously, it's like you think about this stuff, and then I think to myself, most of this stuff is pointless. It's all pointless. It's the Wizard of Oz is handling everything. You don't know it, but the Wizard of Oz was a reality. It was the guy was real. He's still alive. And we're going to have to deal with that and understand it's all a big conspiracy. I've been to the end. It was China. Yeah. I got a hard time with the whole with China at all. In just about everything they say, everything that their government does, I got problems with. And the thing is that a lot of other countries, a lot of other people, they see the bullshit. But yet, the companies are like, this will be really good. It'll be really good for everybody. Yeah, I saw the whole David Icke thing. I think, that the thing is with him is that there is some truth in what he says. But I think that, he's reaching on a lot of other issues. And I think that's what it is with conspiracies, and that's how you get people to believe them. There's going to be some truth in the, if there's no truth in what somebody's saying, then you just go, well, you listen, the guy's completely full of shit. So there has to be an inkling. Yeah, of course. But that's what that's how it works. Joe knows Fred, who knows Mary Ellen, who knows Joe, who knows Frederick, who told a story about somebody he knew falling off the edge of the earth, and then everybody starts passing it along. It's like you see a movie and you see different things. And you come out of the movie and one person was like, oh, I didn't see that at all. Somebody else saw something completely different, and they were like, what are you talking about? Listen, one of my buddies saw the movie Birdman with Clint Eastwood in it. Now, I started watching that movie. Man, I got about 10 minutes into it. I went, I can't watch this shit. I can't watch this movie. It wasn't for me. And I think it's the same thing with conspiracies and, people are allowed to believe what they want to believe. Everybody's truth is slightly different. Now, what are you going to do? If you're religious, do you stop going to churches? I believe in science. No, a lot of people are not going to believe it. They're going to keep going to church, and that's what's happening. Religion, for whatever religion it might be. Another one bites the dust. I have it worked out too. When this is all over, I'm going back to beer goggles and looking out with backwards binoculars. Lies get smuggled inside the truth, but he makes a lot of money by spreading his theories. Yes, I've seen the edge of the world, but they move it as you come closer, so you can't reach it. That's very true. It's like you keep moving the goalposts. And some people might say that about Thailand, that Thailand keeps moving the goalposts. I don't know. I guess it depends on your perspective, you know. And the same thing in the United States. I mean, listen, it's like if you listen to that AOC, she believes everybody should be let in. Everybody should have, everybody should be, whether you're illegal or not, you should have free health care. You should have free. First of all, why don't we just stop the illegals from coming in and figure out a way that people that are needed can come in and can be legal? You know. The other thing to think about is that change is constant. And I said this the other day. The only thing that never changes is the fact that change is going to keep coming no matter what. There is always going to be change. So, especially in a situation like this, like I've said in the past few streams, this is a very fluid situation. And you're going to have to expect there to be changes. Places are going to close. Places are going to open. I really hope they don't say something like, oh, well, it's 24-hour curfew. You can't go out. You can't even go out for food. Sorry. The next week, can't go out for food. Can't go out for anything. No reason. You know? I hope they don't do that. Now, in India, they're having some problems because you risk being beaten if you go out. And I guess some of the police are taking to beating people and bribing people, telling them, listen, if you want me to let you go through, it's not a rumor. Apparently it is fact. It came from. Listen, I as a woman, AOC is all right. I mean, she ain't bad. I know plenty of guys that would love to jump her bones, but that's not what it's about, If she was the bartender, okay, I could see, having a couple drinks with her and saying, hey, let's go home together. Okay, I can see plenty of guys saying that. She ain't the most attractive thing, but she's not butt ugly by any means. It's not a rumor. This was said by the Prime Minister and reported by various news agencies. And there is a curfew now, obviously. Well, I mean, I've said that India was a place. I mean, I've said this based on what a lot of other medical professionals have said. And also thinking about the proximity that people live to one another. You banger for sure. See? The other thing that I've said is the African continent. Now, I did hear something, and I don't believe it. I don't know if it was from John Campbell, the doctor, John Campbell, or I read it somewhere. I don't remember. I need to start noting these things to be a little more credible. But I heard something about the fact that because malaria is such a problem in some of the countries in Africa, that the coronavirus might be spreading much more slowly there because some of the people, have been taking the anti-malarial drugs. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but Malaysia apologized for telling women not to nag their men or something like that during this crisis. Yes, that was true. And then why would they apologize? It's like, listen, I apologize. That's not, listen, I don't want to nag my wife, and I don't want my wife nagging me. Men, don't nag your women. Understand this is a stressful time for most people. And women, don't nag your men. There, I said it. What would the chance of this 24-hour curfew happening? What are the chances? That's a good question. I don't think that they're going to do it immediately. I think it'll be incremental. I think they may say something like, uh, 7 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know how feasible that is. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think they'd have to think that one through. But then again, you never know. Sometimes actions occur because somebody got a wild hair up their ass. And this is how people don't always think logically. I mean, all you have to do is watch some of the Chowderhead videos, and you know that people don't always think logically. Well, obviously the food is a concern. The supply lines are also a concern. Um, I had a problem getting salted butter. That's just what I like. I just get it out of habit. They didn't have any. I was like, okay, just give me whatever you got. Um, and the wife had some problems getting some butter the other day. She got like margarine, which we almost never get. What else was it that she had a hard time getting? I don't remember, but I'd like to know what the rice prices are now versus, say, a couple of weeks ago. It's a little bit more expensive, but not a huge, there hasn't been a huge increase that I've seen. So it'll be interesting because probably in the next, what's today? The 5th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Probably around the next, well, maybe it'll be about a week. In about a week, I'm going to make a trip to the grocery. Not because I want to, but because there are a lot of things you can't get, and there may be some errands that I need to run, paying bills and that kind of thing, transferring money that I can't really do. I have to take the cash and I don't know exactly. But I'm going to see just how everything looks because my wife had to go out yesterday, and she said a fair amount of people out. She said, yeah, it's not like it's not a ghost town. Now, in some areas it might be because, like, Jono has told me many times, well, I look at the streets and they're far less busy. So, the president was pushing hydrochloroquine hard today. Yeah, I saw that. He was hinting at the fact that once you're put on a ventilator, the chances you come off alive are low. I'd like to know about that, but I'd say if it's not a dangerous drug, if you don't have to give a dangerous amount, a dosage, what could be deemed dangerous, then why wouldn't you use it? If there's a chance of saving somebody's life, why wouldn't you use it? In an apartment with a kitchen, it wouldn't be so bad, but in the hotels, it could be a pretty bad situation. Yeah. If you're in a hotel, hopefully you have one of those hot water makers, or you can get hot water from somebody in the hotel, and you buy a bunch of noodles. One thing that I think that we're going to need to get, that I want to get, and like as soon as possible, is a gas burner. One of the ones that you put a can in, and that's where the gas comes from, and then you just turn the thing on, because all we have now is electric, and that's not a good thing. I mean, we do have, in the front, we have an area where we can cook, so we would be all right, I guess, but things would be much more difficult, be more of a pain in the ass. I mean, you want to cook an omelet, you want to cook something in the wok, well, now you got to cook it over coals. So it's possible, but it wouldn't necessarily be much, it wouldn't be easier. Theory on chloroquine helping comes from a 2005 study with SARS virus. Okay, well, again, maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, I don't know. Yeah, I saw something about the antibodies, how they have something about being able to inject antibodies, and how that would be easier than creating a vaccine. Well, I'm older. And I think you're older too, Larry, if I'm correct. What the hell? All right. Let's see here. Yeah, you're an old man. You're not getting old. You're old. All right, I just saw something here. Um, Unbelievable. But the good thing is that there's a lot of old people out there. We're all in the same boat. And for all the youngsters out there, you know, I used to think the very same thing. I'm never going to get old. And guess what? Here I am. Anyway, interesting discussion today. I don't know, you know, I know we've talked this to death, but as far as Thailand goes, I think it really depends on what kind of position you're in financially and otherwise. I mean, you know, I'm definitely not wealthy. uh, and it depends on, you know, how resourceful you are and all these other kind of things. There are variables. So to just write off Thailand, I think, is a bit short-sighted, and I think it kind of, like I said, it depends on your situation. Um, what was that here? Hydrochloroquine and azithromycin and zinc is getting 99 efficacy in trials in France. Okay, well, yeah, I think that, like I said, you know what? If it's not going to harm you, then why not use it? I'd be pushing the hydrochloroquine and plasma antibodies therapy hard. It's being used with success and isn't some crazy thing that's new and dangerous. Yeah. Well, you know, let's hope something happens because my big question is, when are we going to reach a tipping point? When are people and countries going to say, okay, enough? We have this stabilized enough to where we feel like, yes, people are going to die, but not as many because we think we have a way to deal with this. And there will be some deaths still, but they're going to open things up again because they know that if they kill the economy, you can't just keep writing your own, making your own money, you know. You can't just keep printing your own money and expecting things to turn out okay. Eventually, like I say, you got to pay the piper. Rats, cats, or bats, nobody flies for free. Gas, grass, or ass, nobody rides for free. I mean, you know, eventually there's always some consequence. You pay in one way or the other. And hopefully, what I'm hoping is that the Chinese government pays to where they fall apart. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see that, and you know, we'll just have to take our chances with their new government. Yeah, it becomes a false economy, and I don't think we want that because that could get pretty hairy. You know, like I said a couple streams ago or last stream, if the soldiers have to go out into the streets, that's not going to be pretty. We don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. The U.S. is going to get hit hard. I think, actually, honestly, I think China is being hit really, really hard. I think they're in deep shit. And there are some analysts. There's a guy named Gordon Chang who I listen to once in a while, and I see he gets put on various uh, news shows. And he seems to think that the CCP is in deep trouble and they are falling apart. Now, I'd like to see that. just because hopefully something better will come of it. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. We'll have to see. But, we'll never know if they stay in power and we keep sucking their tit, which is what we're doing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope that they fall apart. I hope the guy is right. I don't know that it's going to happen because they have a lot of resources to draw from. People are already leery, scared, however you want to put it, of crossing them. And I don't think anybody wants a war between, the countries that side with China, the countries that side with the United States. I don't think that that's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to cause some serious problems there. But you know what? We may not find out about them. I mean, look at it. Now, they're even saying in Wuhan things are getting worse, and there's, all these disappearing cell numbers and the urns and all this other stuff. So who knows what's true? And that goes back to what I was saying yesterday, or day before yesterday, which is, who's to know what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not. Probably see Xi ousted, but likely get a different CCP faction rather than a CCP fall. Now that seems that could happen, or let's say he passes away, and there is a difference of opinion with the new leader, when it comes to how he deals with things versus how Xi dealt with things. But who knows? Yeah, I mean, why would they reopen the wet markets? That's what they've done. They've reopened them already. And they said they weren't going to, and they did. So, you can't trust anything they say. I don't believe them. And you know what? You can bring people, but listen, I know people that have lived there. I know Hong Kongers, Taiwanese. I know several people who would be, they're just like, they shake their heads. They're like, come on. We're not, and this is the thing. Yes, they are Chinese, but they're not from China. And they are very different from mainland Chinese. And again, I don't want to extrapolate my opinions just from, well, all Chinese are the same. I don't want to try to head in that direction because that's not what I mean. A lot of the people are under their thumb and they don't want to be. They know exactly how they're living. You think everybody there enjoys having to put, in the places that are doing this, that they want to be surveilled day in and day out? Of course not. Yes, I agree with that, JJC. I'll just call you JJC. I do agree with that. And I know somebody who was there recently. And he was like, "Oh, come on." He goes, most of them they're just trying to make ends meet, and they don't have a hatred for foreigners or for Americans or anything like that. Now I don't know. I can't say hatred, but they are opinionated in their own ways, as much so as Americans are about them. And when you grow up one way, when you grow up as an American, you think a certain way. When you grow up Chinese, you think a certain way. So that's to be expected. Once those markets are reopened, coronavirus is on the way. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. When will they learn? But there's also a lot that will have no problem with treating animals like crap. Well, I was talking about that the other day. 10 million dogs are eaten per year in China. 4 million cats. How do you justify that? Oh, well, we need food. Well, wait a minute. According to the CCP, things are better than ever. People are living quite well. Well, if they are, then why are they eating dogs and cats? Because it's a luxury? Why are they still finning sharks? Why are they still the biggest market for rhino horns and tiger peckers? Sorry, tiger penises. You know, this is what they do, and it comes from part of their belief, you know. Well, I mean, you gotta understand that even here in Thailand, they have wet markets, and I can say that. Listen, if you've ever seen me walk through, yeah, if you've ever seen me walk through Bangkok Market, it's not what most Westerners would consider to be spotless or even hygienic. So the health standards, the hygiene standards are not quite the same as they would be in other places, you know, where the government is like, do you have an A rating? They don't, not to my knowledge, they don't do that with some of the markets. Now, a place like, and I've said this before, Ortorkor Market, spotless. Places, I mean, you know, it's extremely clean. But you go into CASHAPP and you're going to see animals there, and some of them people might find it offensive in how they are being cooped up. Nuke the wet markets, not for the virus, but because of the way they are cruel to animals. Yes, they are very cruel. Recent news items said all exotic and domestic animals now prohibited. Okay, well, just remember this, that they lie. And I know that sounds really bad, but they also said they're going to close the wet markets. There's only one that remains closed in Wuhan. They've said this about exotic and domestic animals before, especially the exotic animal trade. Now, do a search on exotic animal trade, Vice, and this was made several years ago by a photographer that I know of, and that I don't know if he still lives in Bangkok. I don't think he does, but he did for many, many years, and it was quite informative. And then I've seen some other ones where, you know, some guys have gone kind of undercover, and it's very difficult because now, especially now, like the Vietnamese and the Chinese, they know what people are doing when they come around with a camera, and so they don't want them. They don't want them walking around with cameras photographing everything. Well, there's always going to be there. The fourth SARS is probably brewing out there now. COVID-26. They're already talking about COVID-22. There's always going to be something out there. I mean, you know, you just have to do the best you can to mitigate it, and hope that if something does start to kill people, that you can get a handle on it. But in Bangkok Market, they are not torturing animals, from what I've seen. I haven't seen that, no. I haven't seen it in Thailand either. It's the pangolins that I feel sorry for. Probably just official lip service. Well, that's what a lot of countries do. I don't want to just pick on China, although I don't mind doing so. The Chinese government and the way that they handle things. You know, it's, what are you doing about this? Believe me, we're on it. We're doing everything we can. What does that mean? What are you doing? Be specific. You know. Sometimes they get specific, sometimes they don't. Think about how many times, and I'm not just talking about Trump, I'm not out here to just slam Trump, but how many times has he and many other presidents been asked a question and he totally bypasses the question and he just gets into something else. You know what I mean? And like that's frustrating. That kind of stuff, I understand people don't want to see it. Listen, just get to the crux of the question. Get to the nitty gritty. I don't want to know about your friendship with this guy and everything. We had a wonderful conversation. How come we have to? What? Why do we have to have all these adjectives? I don't need all that. Get past the adjectives. Get to the nitty gritty. Right? I mean, Anyway, another day, and life goes on. Things are not all that bad for most people, and again, it's a very small percentage of people when you consider the number of people in the world. So, but it's very small until, listen, if something happened, yeah, I just saw that. I don't know what I think about that, wearing the mask. And he actually said something like, "Can you see it? I'm wearing the mask in the beautiful desk in the Oval Office or whatever, And it's like, you just don't get it. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. Is it good for you? Yes or no? If this was something that, if you were 50 feet away from somebody and you breathing would get hundreds of thousands of people sick and this was a mass cloud, people would be wearing those masks. But now, because it's like, oh, you just stay 6 feet away. So for him to say that he didn't need to say that. He didn't need to say, well, I don't know if I'm going to. And then he had to throw in, this lovely desk or whatever it was, the lovely office. Can you see me sitting there? Yeah, I can. So what? Big deal. Now, the one thing is, I don't know if Japan, let me see here. What was his name? Abe Shinzo. I'm not wearing a mask unless I go to the store. I didn't think the president is going out to get groceries. No, but he's got people coming in and out all the time, and he does not know where they've been. Some of them, at least. Yeah, despite the fact that the Summer Olympics have been closed or postponed, rather, Shinzo Abe admitted that the games should not go on. That was a big deal. Yeah, of course. Now I'm going to have to sign up for this. This is off the Economist. But he still refused to declare a state of emergency. He just does not want to lock down Japan. I was just going to say that, so thank you. Wait a minute, what? I'm not wearing a mask unless I go to the Resolute desk. Robert Redford, he's got an example function. That's the point. I was just going to say that, so thanks. Well, there was a piece a couple of weeks ago that was talking about the difference in cultural perspectives. And that, for instance, and I used to think it was a bit strange in Japan. I've been to Japan a couple of times. It's been quite a few years, probably 10 years since I've been to Japan, but and I really would like to go back at some point. But I remember seeing people wearing masks there, and actually in Thailand to a lesser extent, and thinking to myself, why are they wearing masks for? And, this Tops just keeps sending me all these messages, and I've already unsubscribed from them before. They just keep sending me message after message after message. And I've unsubscribed from them about 10 times, and it is Tops. They just don't care. But I used to think it was a bit strange for them to wear masks, and it could have been because they were sick. And to them that's a polite thing to do. They're sick. They're going to wear masks because they don't want to get other people sick. That's not how it is in the United States. People are sick. They just go around and they say, well, if I get you sick, I get you sick. You know. So that's something to think about, is the cultural differences. And the same thing with shaking hands. And I did hear the president talking about shaking hands and how the flu could even be lessened. The effects of the flu could be lessened just by not shaking hands. So everybody's going to be elbow bumping. And then I read another article, this is also several weeks back, about how more people were Ying because they didn't want to shake hands. And now, to be honest, I don't know, do I really want to shake hands? I don't want to shake hands with anybody right now. What's the point of that? I can always go, hey man, what's up? So anyway, interesting. Let's see. Can I get this? Any of these numbers? Have they updated them? No, it doesn't look like they have. But man, you look at the graph, the linear graph, and the total number of cases and deaths is just going almost straight up. USA, 2 new deaths, 278 new cases. China, 30 new cases, 3 deaths. South Korea, 81 new cases, 6 deaths. Australia, 85 and 4. Thailand has not been updated, but now they are over 2,000. They got 2,067 total cases, 20 deaths. They've tested 23,669. And wow, so they just added the number of tests to this world meters. So you have that information. There's only 23 serious or critical patients now in Thailand, but there are another 1,373 active cases. I need to actually screenshot this so that I have this and I can see just how everything's progressing. It seems that their numbers are pretty good, but what do I know? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. I guess we're about done here, eh? Sound like a Canadian. I guess that this stream has run its course and it's about time to say goodbye. It's 11 in the morning here. I started at 8 today. And I'll start at 8 o'clock, possibly tomorrow. I got to think, do I have anything that I really want to go over? But I'd actually, at least for the time being, maybe I'll do something daily, but I'll just do an hour and a half, and I'll stick to it. So I don't know. I'll be streaming tomorrow or Tuesday, whatever. We'll see. But I'd like to get these numbers for Thailand. Yeah, I'd like to do the Zoom. Maybe after this stream. I've already downloaded it. I'm already ready to go. The only thing is that I need to see, can the encoder pick up the Zoom? And I tried yesterday and I wasn't picking it up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be able to once it gets started. Let me see something here. Yeah, I don't see anything at the moment, but then nothing is running. So I was taking, what? Social Security Daily, what? SS Daily to compare the data, but I've quit. Too depressing. What's SS Daily? It's okay. I know you got to type it all out. I know it's lengthy, but I don't know what that means. I've been using it for work lately. Yeah, If there was a way for me to do it, believe me, right now uh, I would be Zooming with a bunch of different people. Obviously, the internet doesn't seem very good right now. The quality of the internet is not very good. But, I wanted to do this thing. I talked about it the other day. My wife, she puts a background up because she's got the white wall just like I use sometimes downstairs. She put like a mountain, and then she put like a photo of a nice, like the Jim Thompson house she put behind her. And she talked to everybody else, and they see that. Unfortunately, my laptop is screenshot. Oh, I don't know, man. Unfortunately, my laptop is a dual core, not a quad core. And a quad core will allow me to do that. A dual core doesn't work well enough to where I can put the screenshot behind me. It's like having your own green screen behind you, which would be great. But right now, I can't worry about that. Just trying to get the Zoom going. So, Soy Dog Cowboy, once this is done, maybe we can give that a quick try, and I'll see if it works. I don't have to stream. All I have to do is bring up the encoder. So that's good. Anyway, like I said, I think we're about done here. So if you like what I'm doing and would like to, I gotta say, I've had to make everything that I read now. My eyes have gotten so bad that I have to increase the font size so that I can read it more easily. But if you like what I'm doing and would like to support the channel, take a look in the description or head over to AmericanInBangkok.com/Scott. If you have yet to subscribe, please do so. Make sure to click on the bell to make sure you get notified of when I'll be streaming or when another video goes up, which I do have some videos. I got a lot of stuff. I just have to find the energy and the time and put it together and be happy with it and then throw it up. So stuff will go up soon. More stuff, not streams, but videos. Anyway, click like. Don't forget to click like, share, leave a comment. And I wonder if this music will work now. Why is it not working? No, it's not working. Yeah, I don't know why. It seems like the VLC is not working. I wanted to have a little exit music, but yeah, maybe I need to restart that. Give me a second here, and thank you very much for joining. Hopefully, I can get this. It doesn't seem to, it's not even shutting. It won't even shut off. I can't even quit the thing. I need to force quit it or whatever. And even that's not working. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's open it up real quick. Maybe I can get a little bye-bye music. Not that it's really necessary at this point. But maybe it'll work. I'd like to see if it'll work just for the sake of... Here we go. Nope. It's not working. I don't know if you guys can hear music. I can't, so that's not a good thing. Let me see something else. I don't hear it. Anyway, thank you much. Much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. All right? Goodbye.